Hello, and welcome to Russia-Ukraine News, where we cover every latest on Russian invasion on Ukraine. Please make sure to subscribe and like the video. The Russian brigade accused of carrying out heinous war crimes against helpless civilians in Bucha has reportedly been attacked by Ukrainian drones and suffered heavy losses in the Donbas amid claims Vladimir Putin wants them to disappear. Soldiers of the 64th Motorized Rifle Brigade of the 35th All-Russian Army, who Ukrainian authorities named as those responsible for torturing, raping and executing civilians on the outskirts of Kyiv, withdrew last month to Belarus and then Russia. Vladimir Putin bestowed an honorary title on the brigade now known as the Butchers of Bucha, with a presidential decree honoring their mass heroism in defending state interests, while the officer overseeing them was promoted. Despite the honors, the unit was then redeployed to the Donbas front, one of the most dangerous fronts in the conflict, where deadly battles are taking place as Moscow's forces attempt to surround Ukrainian troops who are proving a determined line of defense against Russia's push from the east. Analysts say that Putin has deliberately sent them to the front lines in order to make them disappear so they could never be forced to testify over their alleged war crimes. Ukraine had published the names of the officers responsible for the Bucha massacre, and Putin knew they could one day be made to stand trial and reveal the scale of their atrocities. An intelligence report in early April said another goal of the rapid return of the 64th Brigade to Ukrainian territory is the quick disposal of unnecessary witnesses. That is, redeployment to a part of the war front where they will have no chance of surviving, thus making it impossible for them to testify in future courts. The main intelligence directorate of Ukraine's MOD said at the start of the month that Russian commanders were refusing to rotate their brigades and the 64th were in Belgorod in western Russia ready for redeployment. Putin then sent them to the front between Kharkiv and Izium, where fierce Ukrainian fighters were stationed looking to exact revenge on the now infamous brigade. Images now purport to show destroyed T-80 battle tanks, KAMAZ trucks and BTR-80 armored personnel carriers with corpses lying beside the vehicles after the Donbas drone attacks. Most of the soldiers in the unit protested against their redeployment so soon after their campaign in Kyiv, according to Ukrainian news site Trometsk. They were made to fight the 93rd Ukrainian Brigade protecting Kharkiv, who have a fearsome reputation, similar to the neo-Nazi Azov regiment in Mariupol. Ukraine believes defeating the 64th Brigade would be another huge symbolic victory following the successful strikes inside Russia and the sinking of the Moskva flagship. The Butchers of Bucha had left a trail of death and destruction in their wake as Ukrainian authorities discovered several mass graves and scores of corpses once they recaptured the town north of Kyiv. It is believed the brigade was assisted by the feared Wagner mercenaries in their savage attacks on Bucha residents. The shadowy military company, which has been linked to a string of killings, rapes and war crimes around the world, is known as Putin's private army, which carries out his dirty work at an arm's length from the state. Russia has said that images and footage of hundreds of dead bodies strewn across Bucha were fake. Commander Azatbek Amerbekov, identified as Putin's senior commander in Bucha when the barbarism was carried out, was then promoted from lieutenant colonel to full colonel. His elevation was acknowledged in a report from newspaper Red Star. The reason for this promotion to full colonel was not clear, but the report hailed his perceived success in Ukraine. The separate motorized rifle brigade under the command of Colonel Azatbek Amerbekov carried out the task of occupying a defensive line, said the newspaper. In the course of capturing the designated boundary, the enemy numbering up to a battalion was defeated and more than 40 pieces of equipment destroyed. The nationalist unit lost all combat capability and was no longer involved in combat operations. Within 3 weeks, under the leadership of Colonel Amerbekov, brigade units at the occupied line repelled more than 50 attacks by the enemy using tanks, infantry fighting vehicles and heavy artillery. Ukrainian officials say the bodies of more than 1,000 civilians have been retrieved from areas around Kyiv, and they are working with French investigators to document alleged war. So guys, with that we have come to an end of this edition of the news. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time. Bye.